Easy question. You, Nick Mendola. Are Manchester United back? I mean, what are the odds that Erik Ten Hag's side now go on to win 4 trophies this season? They got the first one in the bag, were clinical against Newcastle in that League Cup final win. And it just seemed they were so excited, the buzz, and guys like Casemiro, Varane, who've won so many trophies over the years, they were just so happy to kind of end that trophy drought at United. And it feels like with the balance of the team, the experience, the youth, the kind of control that Erik Ten Hag has and the relationship he has with his players, everything is going in the right direction at Man United. So, yeah, as it says there on the caption, are Man United back?
Yes, but with a huge but.
But
if they somehow won all 4 trophies this year, he should quit. He should quit because he's going to be judged against that by United. I like United right now, which is weird. I mean, as a neutral, right? Like, I appreciate what they're doing. They've been gone for so long, and their supporters have suffered, not according to our standards, but according to their own standards. And I like this project, but can you imagine how quickly we'd remember what it's like for United fans to be very expectation heavy? But I think they're very good, and they are missing a couple of guys who, if they come back and play well, Anthony Martial, I've been thinking for quite some time that if he were healthy, they may be really in the thick of it right now in the Premier League. Eriksen's been gone for a while now too. And have you noticed? I mean, that's insane. Erik Ten Hag, in a world without a Mikel Arteta, and depending on how this shakes out, how is he not manager of the year?
Really, when it comes to expectations, I think, Andy, none of us really saw this coming after the slow start they had to the season. And then some were even calling for Erik Ten Hag to be fired, right? I mean, it was early days, but it just
not
us. But it shows you what patience kind of brings to the situation, and a calm head. Obviously, he's a very good coach. We've seen that over the years, and just getting time to figure it out, getting rid of Cristiano Ronaldo, moving on from that saga. How just great it's been at United to have a balanced, and you say it all the time, to have a grown-up in charge. So it's last 16 in the Europa League against Real Betis, won the League Cup already. They've got an FA Cup quarter-final at home against Fulham. And I'd say they're just ominously lurking in the background of the title race. I don't think anybody really truly believes they're going to finish ahead of Arsenal, Man City. But they could, right? Right now, the tear they're on. And as I said, they are balanced. They have momentum. And the thing I like about them, you never quite know who's going to hurt you. Usually it's Rashford right now, but then Bruno Fernandes pops up in key areas. You've got Garnacho chipping in, Casemiro and Fred even chipping in with goals from midfield and making those late runs. So, again, balance the key. And how far do you think Man United are actually back in the situation for 4 trophies?
Yeah, I like that you both use the word expectations, because it does feel like now within the club that the expectation is every time they take the field, they're going to win. And that has always been, at least since I have been aware of the football world, that has been Manchester United. They are expected to win. They expect themselves to win. And I think Erik Ten Hag has reinstilled that mindset in the club. And I think he deserves a lot more credit probably than he's even being given right now for this turnaround, because it wasn't just, well, we need to sign some good players in the right positions and then everything will be fine. There was a cultural problem at Manchester United when he took over, and even after he took over and into part of the season, and you mentioned him already, Joe, Cristiano Ronaldo needed to be moved on. He should have never been brought back in the first place. And we said it at the time. We said it every transfer window that he was there. And he also had to lay down the law with Jadon Sancho as well, and just reset the standard of expectation in terms of the day-to-day, not even results and how they play on the field, but how you show up to work every single day as a Manchester United player. That used to really mean something. And then it didn't for like 10 years. And it feels like it's starting to once again. And Erik Ten Hag deserves a lot of credit for that, I think.
That's a great point. I feel like the last few games, be it grinding out the win against West Ham in the FA Cup and then against Newcastle as well, there's just that ruthlessness and the rotation of players coming in, knowing their job, the level always just staying exactly the same no matter who's in the lineup. And yeah, it's almost the feeding off each other, right? These players now, like, okay, we know we're quality players, but now we're together, we're a team unit. And you're right, I was watching it thinking, I could be watching a Fergie team from 2009, 2010, that kind of era. It had that same vibe to it the last few months.
Yeah, was it the 99 treble winning team? Are Manchester United going to score? They always score. It has that vibe again. And watching them against Barcelona in the Europa League last week, and I was fortunate enough to, I think, cover both legs of that or the second leg of that tie, was just fascinating to watch and brilliant and entertaining. But you knew Manchester United were going to come out of that tie and they were going to be the ones to advance against a team like Barcelona. And that just has not been the case for the longest time with that club. So big credit to Ten Hag, but also the players as well, stepping up to another level. And Anthony, I think is someone who has another 2 or 3 levels still to go up for that team. So I think they're a lot closer to being they're so much closer to being back and title contenders than I thought they could be in year 1, maybe even year 2 under Ten Hag. I thought it was a much longer term project, but they are on an accelerated timetable now. And with 1 or 2 perfect signings in the summer, with the money that they're going to have as a Champions League club and the pull that they're going to have as a Champions League club again, yeah, we might be in for it again.
Nick, in terms of right now in the Premier League, are they the most dangerous team to play against? Because as Andy mentioned there, just it seems like they're always going to score defensively, looking so much better with Lissandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, just a very settled back four there and the protection they have in front of them. It seems like, as well, when we look at their schedule remaining, they don't actually have a lot of the big teams to play left. So it's kind of all trending in the right direction for United. So if you're Man City and Arsenal, of course, the 2 teams above them, they're there for a reason right now. But I think it's quite scary if you come up against Man United again, right? That fear factor is back. And right now, they are the one team that I would not want to be playing if I was a Premier League team. Is that fair enough?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. It's a mentality thing. The reason I pause so much is because even Sunday against Newcastle, and I'm not saying this, I told you guys before, and I expected to lose. I thought 4-2. It was a lot to ask of Karius, who was actually pretty good on the whole of the game. But what they have right now is sometimes a team is just going with that confidence. And the reason I say they're back is not because I think they're going to win the league, but the mentality is back. As long as I've watched the game, I don't know if there's been anything more stunning in the history of my watching the Premier League, which is decades long now, than the fact that teams could go into Old Trafford and you didn't even think, oh, this is at Old Trafford. Because for 15 years, you might as well not have watched the game. Not that they didn't drop points there or whatever, but it was a fortress. What did they call? What was the theater of dreams? Right. That's the term everyone used, and I can hear it in every accent from around the globe. The reason I say they're back though is because they have enough players that Ten Hag hasn't even worked with for a whole summer. Like you talk about Sancho, holy goodness, him with a dedicated role in the plan if he's a part of it, right? The idea of what he really wants Fernandes and Casemiro and their best midfield to look like. And with all due respect to Luke Shaw, who is more than serviceable, when he gets Malacia or whoever ends up being his left back up to speed, they're scary. They're scary, and they can be scary right now.
And they've improved a lot as well. So it just feels like throughout the season, they're getting better and better, and they're just building up now to this big finish. And Andy, quickly, how does this feel different to other good runs they've had under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because, we mentioned the Fergie era there. It's a decade on now. They've tried so many managers, and they've won trophies under Mourinho and Van Gaal. They've had, second place finishes to Solskjaer and others. Yeah. So they've been good in spells, but this feels like it's going to be a more prolonged period of success for Manchester United. That's fair to say. So what's it all about?
I think, right now, currently, or they were at least doing it across 3 competitions at the same time. It's something that they never really were able to do. I don't think they had the squad. I don't think they had the identity. And they're still doing it across 3 competitions because they're still in the FA Cup as well. And so, potentially 4 trophies on the offer this season. They always had to go all in under Jose Mourinho. We're going to win the Europa League, or we're going to win the League Cup. And they have a squad now with enough talent and an understanding, I think, with an identity that the manager has given them, that it translates no matter what the team is. It translates no matter who the opponent is. And they are set up every single game to, at the very minimum, they're difficult to beat. And Manchester United have not been difficult to beat for quite a long time. They can obviously go and win games, but they have there's a control, I think, about the way that they play now. And it's not a desperation the way that it has been in recent seasons as well. It's just, yeah, everything that everybody has ever loathed about Manchester United, it feels like that is back. And this feels almost therapeutic, I think, for probably a lot of people that have a lot of bad memories of just Manchester United domination for years and decades under Fergie. Maybe not quite to that degree, but they are certainly back, and they have staying power as well. It's not an incredibly old squad. It's quite young and has more levels to go up. And it seems like they have figured out the transfer market and have a process of identifying talent, confirming talent with the manager that this is a player that he would want and that could fit into his plans, and then getting that player. And, it's a novel concept, but a lot of clubs have not figured that out these days.
Yeah, the structure's there now, which is great. And Ten Hag was sort of the final piece of that. The structure's still going to develop as well. When you think about, we mentioned it there, the pool of Manchester United financially, even with or without new ownership, whenever that happens, if it does happen, they can still attract the best players in the world. So you're looking at someone like Jude Bellingham, perhaps, where he's got a choice of Premier League teams right now to go to this summer. Then it looked like it might be Chelsea or Liverpool. But right now, alongside Casemiro for Manchester United, that would be kind of the perfect for him. All right. For other
maybe he helps Sancho. Yeah, maybe he helps Sancho get a little bit,
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, quickly, how many trophies do we think they win? They've already won one. So, Nick, how many trophies did they end up with at the end of the season?
One.
All right, fair enough. You had us go in there.
I just don't know that the depth is there. I was reminded Wednesday. I should have said this earlier. I was reminded Wednesday when we watched Arsenal just how lethal they are right now. And it's City to me I think they will, but I think City's the only team that can catch them. City is probably going to be in the way of the FA Cup, and I don't think United is there yet. They could win. And the Europa League, those Thursdays, it's just such a crapshoot. And then you got to show up at the end of the year and be amped up for this game. So I think it's a big ask. He could get 2. I don't think any more than that, though.
Andy?
They're going to get one more, whether it's the FA Cup and it's United City head to head, and feels like it's built up as a potential changing of the guard in the Premier League and in Manchester, or if it's just the Europa League and they say we want to win that competition again. I think they're the most consistent team in that competition that's left. And to Nick's point, the crapshoot that Thursday nights are, that means something in that competition. So I think they're going to get one more, one of the two. Take your pick.
I'm going with 3. I don't think they're going to win the Premier League title, but I just think they're such an aura and a competition one-off team right now that I think on any given day, they can beat anybody.
I'm over United being back already. I'm done. 12 minutes here, and I've had enough.
This does feel like one of those Joe predictions that he tells us about for like 3 years when he's right, though.
Well, I did say Christian Pulisic will lead Chelsea to Champions League glory probably 6 to 8 months before.
Oh, you did?
Not that I'm bringing that up again. Hang on, it's in the background on my phone. No, I think 3 trophies. I think they're going to do it in the Europa League, and I think it'll be really close in the FA Cup. But I think they'll get it done somehow. And then maybe they'll finish 3rd in the Premier League. I still think City and Arsenal probably got a little bit too much for them, but they're going to be really, really close given the games they've got left. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest news on Man United as they try and chase that quadruple. Already got one more trophy in that hallowed trophy cabinet at Old Trafford. Let's see how many more they can add to that between now and the end of the season. But it certainly is fun to watch Erik ten Hag's side play right now. Great balance, youth, experience, goals. They have it all. So it's a good time to be a Man United fan at the moment.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.